Um, Somebody was mentioned in Twitter that Kobe Bryant played with a lot of injuries. Um, he kept playing. You know, he didn't miss games because something like a wrist or like a knee were sore. I understand LeBron is 38. I understand that Davis is uh, injury prone, but I'm very disappointed that this is how. I don't know. I don't know who's the decision. I don't know if they ask him or I mean them, um, and they said no. Um, it's frustrating because it was a good performance by Westbrook, who originally struggled in this game, but in the first half wasn't his game, and then the second half he came uh, uh, down before there is any criticism about Westbrook's um, actions. We have to say this: when a lot of people are going to point out that Westbrook took that three, he should have taken a two. But the reason Westbrook took that three is because his defender moved backwards and let him take that shot, and he made the last two that he did. He scored 30 points in that in the second half. So it's a judgment call. He wanted to win the game. I definitely would have gone for a two. And every time he gets in, he gets a foul call. And the reason I would have made a two is because Martin is already sitting with 6 fouls. So if we go to overtime, they have no interior defense. That opens up for Westbrook to score more points, or even anybody else who's trying to get into the paint. Uh, the But I can't fault him because he was uh, he was open. He was open for that shot. And like I said, he was scoring everything in that second half. So I could not fault him for that. If I were his coach, I would have said, "Look, I don't. Taking the two was the best option there, but I cannot be hard on you because you had the shot and you made the shot before." So other things that happened. Look, I'm kind of upset because I don't know why Vogel had, again, the rotations that he had. And I don't understand why. I don't know why this always sends me to. Um, but also the Lakers took a lot of 3-pointers, made them, some of them, made more of them in the second half. The first half was horrible for the team. Um, but I'm a little bit upset also because I think I understand they are taking, you know, LeBron. They don't want to risk LeBron to get a major injury. Uh, but at a certain point, I don't know. You wanna win games, or you want to just fold and tank, which is what already fans are saying. You know, they are tanking. They are giving up, and that sounds bad. That sounds bad. Um, Now, I'm going to say a few other things about this that need to be said. The reason the Lakers that won the championship were so good and were is because they played to the coach's strength. They had a bunch of good defenders. And Kyle Kuzma wasn't that good of a defender, and he became one. But if you look at the Lakers since LeBron is in the team, they have changed pretty much almost all the roster every year. And the first year it worked. The second year, the reason it didn't work is because we had only 71 games to recover from the championship to the next season. So it was, even though the Lakers weren't all in chemistry, they were 25-5 while they weren't all healthy. So they were on the way to win it all. But the injuries starts piling up, and we basically lost in the playing against the Phoenix Suns, and the Phoenix Suns made a run for the championship. They didn't win, but uh, um, that's what happened. Now they changed the strategy in the front office, and they put a bunch of uh, offensive players. This team should be a team that would be scoring like 130 points, something really, amazing. And but the problem, that's on the paper. But the problem is that the team is badly constructed. What they needed was more spacing, and they got Westbrook. And they got rid of every player that was part of the defensive identity of the Lakers out of the team, and they put a lot of scorers, and even the guys that were like, like Reeves, that was a great surprise and a testimony of how good the Lakers are scouting uh, uh, load, download the draft or even undrafted players. But um, at the end of the day, the one thing that that didn't work is that the Lakers lost the identity. They didn't take the preseason seriously because they they thought they were gonna cook. They were gonna cook everybody. They were gonna win it all. They were overconfident. Westbrook and LeBron didn't basically play until the last two games, and it was disastrous. And I already had a bad feeling there because uh, the turnover ratio of Westbrook in the preseason games. Uh, but like every other fan, we brush it up as they're just getting the chemistry together. But their defensive identity was what made them a championship team and a contender for the next season, which ended up in so many, everybody was saying a contender if they can keep themselves healthy. But, it was pretty, it was very, very probable that wasn't going to be the case because of the small amount of time for them to recover from being in the finals to get back to the season. Remember that even they said that LeBron was probably going to sit out until like the month and a half after the season started, and um, and Anthony Davis was kind of good to go, but we were expecting that this could happen last season. Now this season, everybody was excited because we got Melo, we got Malik Monk, we got uh, uh, the big three: Russell Westbrook, LeBron, and Anthony Davis. But it's a big three that clogged the paint. So we got Ellington, we got uh, Bazemore, who is a good defender. He can shoot the three, but sometimes he's not as good as in other years, and as advertised maybe. But it's not something that you could say. Um, that you could say it's enough. It's especially when you were supposed to have a starting team with Ellington starting, and then you don't play him. Why? Why? This is one of the things Frank Vogel did really wrong in this season. He didn't have clear rotations. I know he wanted to experiment a little bit, but he can't experiment too much on a team that is just a sample, like the last two seasons before this one. You can't get chemistry in a team where the only two players you had from the previous version of the team, from the previous season, are only three players. When you have three players only from the last season, you're not going to get chemistry that easy. That's not the rule. That's the exception. And the Lakers were the exception in the bubble, the season that ended up in the bubble, because um, they clicked together in that summer camp that LeBron did, and they clicked pretty well. But aside from that, that's not usually the case. Usually the case is that your team is going to take a lot of time, sometimes even not that season, to click exactly the way you want it. Now, the Lakers are clicking a little bit better, but they are still not winning games. They are still not connecting to in a way that it can translate to winning games. And mostly because their defensive identity is not there. It's not there at all. And they are picking up a few things here and there, but it's very hard to adjust when you are. And let's talk about Westbrook for a little bit. Westbrook is trying to adjust to not be that guy, the guy that everybody expects to take the shots, to do the things, and all that kind of stuff. And because of the injuries of Anthony Davis and LeBron James, he had to switch from the third option to the first option to the third option again. And that takes adjustment. Um, and it's not an easy thing to adjust to. The other thing is when you have a guy that is the main scorer on your team, usually that guy relaxes on defense. It's just like a natural thing because making an effort in defense and offense constantly is not an easy thing to do. You have to change your mindset, from the offense to the defense. Especially if you're scoring point guard, you direct the offense, but usually the anchor is in the defense are the guys in the back. One of the guys in the back, the center, usually. And so you see people talk about this a lot, but I see a lot of comments, especially on Twitter, where people try to oversimplify why these things happen. So that's what I have to say about Westbrook. I think it was a good effort. Unfortunately, the one shot that didn't go in was that one at the end. Maybe he didn't have to take that shot, but I don't fault him for it because he scored everything else. And they missed a lot of open shots anyways, Yeah, it wasn't him only. The other thing I want to talk about is, again, it does have to do with rotations. Why are we, and this goes, okay, I'm going to say this, and I think I already talked about this before. Frank Vogel has been pinned down for using the wrong players, right? But I recently got into this information that the coaching staff were being threatened by Kurt Rambis for not using DeAndre Jordan. And we saw DeAndre Jordan in this game, and DeAndre Jordan didn't have anything to do in this game. He wasn't there in the offense that much. He wasn't there in the defense that much. But because an executive of the Lakers, he had to be there. I hope this is not true, because if it is, it's shame on him. Shame on him. Because Dwight Howard would have helped a lot more. And I saw Dwight Howard in the bench, and I was like, why this guy is not there? Especially when Plumlee it's in foul trouble, and also Martin he fouled out. That was a perfect moment to put Dwight Howard in, because he was going to dominate, right? But we don't see him. Instead, we see DeAndre Jordan, who is not doing much. You know? And I'm not saying he's a bad player, but all I'm saying is he's not fitting in. DeAndre Jordan is not fitting in this, in any lineup the Lakers are bringing. And I'm wondering why, you know, I got over this thinking Pelinka was the the best executive, because it worked out the first time because of these principles. When he created that team, even though he created it out of like thin air so he can accommodate Anthony Davis, this team was the team played into Frank Vogel's forte, which is defense. But this team doesn't fit with Frank Vogel. Westbrook doesn't. He doesn't fit with this team the way they are using him, at least. And you can't have Wayne Ellington benched and expect him in the last 5 minutes of every game to shoot the lights out. He needs to get into rhythm, and he's not going to get into rhythm in the bench. And that's why I said that Vogel needed a defined lineup from the beginning, where Ellington was going to be part of that first team. But no, because Frank Vogel doesn't think like that. He thinks defense, defense, defense. And he also thinks defense because that is the way to activate Russell Westbrook. Because Russell Westbrook, if you get a very defensive team around him, he's going to soar. Because he's going to score a lot of fast break points. Especially score with, LeBron and AD. But for that, you need defense. Winning games like that require defense. And the Lakers, they can't defend, and that's why they can't win. I mean, they defend sometimes. They can't win. Because everything is playing against them. Westbrook can't go on fast breaks. He doesn't get the open lanes because everybody knows that the Lakers are not shooting well from 3-point land. They have one of the best shooters in the NBA sitting in the bench, and they all depend of uh, uh, Anthony. Carmelo Anthony and Malik Monk. If they have a good game, they are likely to win. More likely, at least, than to lose. But if you can close the 3-point line of those two players, the Lakers are more likely to lose because they have to go to the paint, and uh, they can collapse the defense there. And if they collapse the defense there, they take away the paint, and they take away the 3-point shot. Um, the Lakers don't try to win games from the mid-range, which makes it, to me, it's desperating because they have good mid-range shooters, but if they can't stop the threes on the other side, and they make, they make a lot of turnovers, so there's no way to, with mid-range shots, to get back to the other teams. So you need defense, and you need somehow to work your way into declogging the paint. So those are things that the Lakers are having problems doing. The energy was there, at least on the second half. First half, they were playing through the motions. They were trying. But nothing was getting in. And they have too many ISO players, and it's for ISO players, it's difficult to move around the ball and move without the ball because they want to have the ball in their hands. And the main four guys, the Lakers, are need to have the ball in their hands. Davis and LeBron are a little bit more flexible on that, but Carmelo and Westbrook need to have the ball uh, in their hands a lot. So there is another thing. Like, what do you guys think? And please subscribe to the channel if you like this content. Uh, you could help a lot by clicking the like button and commenting and sharing, and all that is good. I want to say something about Frank Vogel. If you are going to get rid of him, who would you put? The problem is Frank Vogel got to the Lakers because they didn't want to offer enough to Ty Lue. And then they also apparently didn't offer enough to Monty Williams. And so Frank Vogel comes after those two guys. And he's like, I'll do it. I'll do whatever you think I should do, and take the prize they give him. So what I'm saying with this is that the Lakers got Ross. I think it was more like something they offer LeBron. So they not need to get through with that, right? To make happy their star player. I really understand that. I completely understand why they did that. But then they got rid of, the team that pretty much brought them the championship. And they got two back, and then they sent one back to another team. Um, and that's the thing. They got Dwight, but they don't use Dwight that much. Um, I would have gotten two centers that could shoot the three. And it's not that difficult to find. In fact, they had Jay Huff, and I know a lot of people are gonna get on me with the, but Jay Huff, you can't compare Jay Huff with you obviously can't compare Jay Huff to Dwight Howard and DJ, his resume, you know. But Jay Huff can shoot the three that can set Anthony Davis, it can set LeBron James, and it can set, especially, it can set uh, um, um, Russell Westbrook. And on the other hand, he's a good shot blocker. So, I don't know. If you're going to have somebody you can bench, that guy sounds like a good deal because he's not going to, you're going to pay that much. And I know uh, the Boss family are not looking to pay more than what they are paying right now. A lot of tax. But but you can actually use that guy for an offensive purpose of clearing the paint and a defensive purpose because he can actually um, protect the rim. So, and he doesn't have to be that big of a rim protector when you have Anthony Davis on the court with him playing four, which is what Anthony Davis wants to play. Uh, it just baffles me how you want to change a winning formula to experiment with something that can blow up in your face. And that's what the Lakers did. They experimented with something that they should not have experimented. And everybody else knew it. Everybody else knew it. I don't know how the Lakers didn't. So, to me, it's something that I can't wrap my head around. And so, what can I say? What can I say? If you have any idea to explain all these strange things that are happening in the Lakers, please comment. Please give your comment. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can, with a reply, or whatever. But I really want to hear from all of you, what do you think about when you see all this happening? All right, so take care of each other and yourself. May God bless you, and go Lakers. Bye-bye.